episode 5 of Both Laugh, the Dying Scene Quarantine Chats. The sun is going down behind me, so it's going to be a little blurry for a few minutes, but we'll be good. Today's guest is Skippy from Pirates Press Records. Skippy's the man. He runs the best label in the business. So we'll talk about Pirates Press. We'll talk about quarantine. We'll probably talk about baseball. We'll probably talk about, lobsters or the pirate skipper sent you a request to be in your live video. So we be ready to rock. How's everybody doing tonight? Oh, I think it worked. Hey, what's up?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. That worked pretty easily, huh?
Yeah. First time's a charm, I guess, right?
Yeah, right. I get nervous every time. Like when I can see that somebody's pending, but it hasn't actually synced up yet. I'm like, oh, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? But it works every time.
The thing I did with Rev the other night that was like live on Facebook was the first live one I've done. I did those videos for Rock the Ship, but they were all like me filming it and then putting it up.
Yeah.
It's always
That was what's that?
always risky with tech.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But you know what? It's Instagram and it's free, so I whatever. You know.
The amount of
So cheers.
Go ahead.
Thanks for joining episode 5 of whatever I'm calling this. Both Laugh, the quarantine interviews.
It's awesome. Thank you.
How's quarantine treating you so far? How's the family?
It's good. It's good. Things are interesting. I've got 2 kids under 4, so I've got a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. So we're potty training one of them and trying to keep the other one from bouncing off the walls. But it's lots of smiles and laughs and family time that we wouldn't have had otherwise. So turn some lemons into lemonade, I guess, or whatever.
All you can do.
Yeah.
It's all you can do, right?
Yeah.
Yep. My brother's got a 2-year-old, and he was playing around the other day, and he knocked one of my brother's guitars over, snapped the head off the Gibson Epiphone. They're sort of notorious for snapping off. Snapped it right off on his 339. Oh, he was heartbroken.
I mean, everybody's got a different quarantine experience right now, and I think like for a lot of us, the one thing that's holding it all together, like the commonality, is the music side of it. Like some people, it's just records, like listening to them at home. Some people, it's like listening to the live feeds that people are doing. And then some people, it's like the creation of the music. There's a lot of musicians right now who are inspired to write good music, and like are writing good music and are planning. There's a lot more planning going on behalf of a lot of the bands than I've ever seen, Most of them are so haphazard, and they write a song and like plan a studio trip, go in, do it, and it comes out. It's very quick. And right now there's a lot of longer term planning going on, which hopefully materializes into some really cool stuff.
I mean, I feel like people have to plan long term now, because who really knows what's going to happen?
If as music fans we benefit from that in some small way, it's not the worst thing, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. One of the coolest days of quarantine, I think, in terms of the live performance thing, was your and Hannah's anniversary. That was really awesome. The way that everybody kind of came together. How did that all come about? Who put that all together? Was that you or Christian or?
Mainly me. There was a lot of legwork by a few different pirates, like Christian and Gowdy and Beak and a few other people, to kind of corral everybody and get everybody like in cahoots with it all. But the artists themselves really were the reason why it was so cool, and for me it was about showing how special what they're doing already is, and it was a great opportunity timing wise to get everybody together to do something really special. And for Hannah and I, it was really special, obviously, to be able to have all of our on the same streams and stuff like that, given the circumstances. Like you deal with what you can right now. And that was really cool. Right. And we're both really proud of all of the artists who are taking the opportunity to give fans ways to connect with them. Like not every artist can open up their home or their life to that kind of audience, and the people who are doing it, it's really special and it's making an impact for people, and that's really cool.
How long was it into everything shutting down? Which for me, I mean, the date we use is March 12th. That was kind of the day that like the first shows started to get cut off, and then there was a couple of weeks where maybe they will, maybe they won't, maybe they will. So how long was it for you before you realized that like this stuff is going away for a while and we need to figure something else out, at least in terms of the live music stuff?
Pretty quickly. I mean, I got the impression right away that it wasn't going to be something where I wonder if the stuff in August is going to get canceled or not. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Or about when. And I think that in general, that's what this whole thing has really been about, is helping people come to terms with the fact that this isn't going to be a light switch moment where we get to go back to normal. You know what I mean? And kind of stringing that along in a way, or like drawing it out in a way that makes it a little bit easier to digest and swallow for people. And that's all right. You know, and a lot of people need that. Like, not everybody can conceptualize how they could get by, how they could survive without those parts of life that are shut off right now, you know? And in music in general, we all have the music at least going on. If you have a job where, you know, you can't tattoo because you're not
Yeah.
allowed, you can't tattoo on a live stream. You can't, you can tattoo yourself if you're living by yourself, but you know, it's different with music. Like,
Right.
there's facets of music that can exist in like every dimension. So that's why it's special, you know? But the live stuff's not going to be around for a while. And the dynamic of even the Rock the Sofa stuff that's going on now and all the live streams, all of that's going to change as like it becomes more acceptable and people are more okay with getting together with more people, as testing becomes available, as more information becomes available, as the threat of, you know, putting people's lives in danger unnecessarily starts to fade away. More people can get together. You've got bands who aren't live streaming now because maybe their singer can't really do it alone and their guitarist lives
Yeah.
few miles away. Well, as soon as those people can get together, it changes the game for that band. And like, there are going to be plenty of clubs that are shut down, and it's going to be awesome to see bands play live with no fans, just them and like somebody to open the doors in a club with a proper sound system fed through the board. Like, that dynamic will make all of this better. There's no more Instagram like from somebody's iPhone feeds, but like real deal stuff.
Yeah.
Like, some bands will monetize it and charge you $1 to get in. Some bands will charge you $10 to get in. Some bands won't charge you anything and will hand around a tip jar, so to speak. Just depends on everybody's individual approach, you know? And for all intents and purposes, whether you like it or not, that's what's going to have to replace a lot of what live music was for a lot of us for a while, you know?
I hope that that day comes sort of sooner rather than later, because I'm curious as to what it will sound like. You know, if you talk about having a band in an actual space playing an actual show just without people, but live streaming it, how that actually sounds. Because I'm about up to here, probably in my threshold of like bearded acoustic guys playing guitar. And I love them and I love the music and I love all the guys, but you sort of, it becomes just saturation after a while. And it's Instagram live for free, like I said. So the sound quality is tenuous at best. So I wonder who's going to be the first to really do a good job with that. Although I guess the Dropkicks probably
They,
started that a month or so ago.
they set a pretty high bar with that.
Mm.
And I think the bands that have the best contacts in the video world will do the best. I've been talking to a lot of different bands about it, in a lot of different places too. And the people that are finding the most confidence in a plan have friends in the video industry. And in a lot of places, that industry is totally shut down. There's no TV,
Right.
movies, like nothing's being shot. So those people have access to the equipment, they have access to time and other things that normally are very expensive. Um, but it's not that hard. You basically need to have the right cords, a decent camera, a computer, and you can do it. You know what I mean? The technology is not inaccessible the way it would have been 5 or 10 years ago. It's actually
Mm.
very easy. It's just about having the manpower to do it, the hours and the time to invest in figuring out whether it's going to look right and who's going to sit behind the computer and switch between the camera feeds if you're using more than one and things like that. And there's going to be a huge variety of people's ability and people's technology and people's access and all of that. And it's going to be interesting to look back at, a year from now and see who are the big winners who came out of the blocks with nobody knowing them, but got lots of support because they had all those things, and other people who maybe already had big fan bases but couldn't generate the kind of following because they didn't have the quality of the feeds or as a creative enough place to play. Like, there's all kinds of cool stuff shut down. You could probably go play in like a Macy's right now if you knew the right
Right.
person,
Right.
like.
Right. Yeah, I want to say the Dropkicks used like a sound stage in New Hampshire, I think, down the road from this venue called Tupelo Music Hall. I think that there just happened to be a sound stage there, and somebody knew somebody, and they kind of just made it happen.
Yeah, I mean,
Which,
right now in a lot of places, non-essential travel is essentially prohibited or whatever.
yeah,
But once that's kind of allowed, or at least it's so common, people are doing it all the time, that you're not looked at poorly by setting a bad example, you're going to see a lot more people doing that, and bands getting together and play, even if it's on four corners of a basketball court, you know what I mean? Just to prove a
right.
point. And also because all these people miss playing together. That's a
Oh
huge,
yeah,
like, I'm not a musician, so like it's not something that's part of my normal like thinking, but
yeah.
absolutely there are a lot of bands right now who are just missing that more than any other part of their lives. It's just being on stage and playing and screaming and
Yeah, I think it was in one of the live stream things Jason Isbell did probably a month or so ago. He and his wife did live streams every day for 30 days from their barn because she was supposed to be on tour. So she was kind of in the mindset of being on the road. So she just played shows 30 days in a row. But one of the things he said towards the end is that he liked doing it, but he was never going to do anything without a drummer ever again. Like even just going to the bank when this is over, he needed to have his drummer Chad just in the backseat of the van or something playing because it's so different. And you kind of you get oversaturated, I think, with
yeah.
playing the same kind of music. You got to
Yeah.
do it, but
It's a shame that more bands didn't have the ability to quarantine together, I suppose, right?
oh
Like,
yeah, right,
you were going to be in a van for these 60 days. We might as well just quarantine together, and you get a show.
exactly,
Like, it'd be
right,
great.
right. Whose idea was the rock the sofa thing? I think that's pretty cool, and I feel like that came along really quickly after people started doing the thing. People started doing live streams and stuff. That's a really
Yeah,
cool idea.
I think the impetus was our friend Barry, who helps run DNA Lounge in the city here, and he basically, I think he missed an important one of those very first ones, and was super bummed that he'd missed the live stream, and was like, we got to figure out a way to get like all of this information out to people so that they know when this stuff's happening so they don't miss it. And in that way we were like, well, we can create like a guide. I don't want to be responsible for being the
Yeah,
venue, you know what I mean, or
right.
being the festival, but we could certainly be a guide. And a lot of people like kind of had that idea in the same amount of time, and we just jumped at it. The rock the sofa thing was just instant because of the rock the ship thing. It was just the
Yeah,
idea
right,
too much not to take advantage of.
right. And so you kind of have a whole gamut of people on there, and then you have this kids section too, which I think is really awesome, and I think that gets overlooked by a lot of people. But if we're all home with our kids, it's cool to have a space where there's kid friendly stuff going on too. Any amount is too much, right?
We've been getting creative.
What
There's been some fun projects over on this end.
what do you miss more, going to live shows or watching baseball?
Ooh, got to be live shows because
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, you've got the little. Oh, I don't know if it's my connection or yours, but your face is frozen, so I can't tell if you can actually hear me or not right now. Oh, there you go. Now you're moving at least. Okay, that's better. Can you hear me at all? Do you hear me at all? No. See, now I can't hear you. Yeah, I don't hear you at all. Oh, I got somebody to say good question, and then let's try this again.
Any
Take
better?
two. Yeah, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, for a minute I could hear you, but I couldn't see you. Your face was just frozen. And then I could see you moving, but I couldn't hear you. So, I don't know.
Everybody's mad at all kinds of politicians right now, but like I'm so not cool with Comcast.
Yeah, yeah. I wasn't either. We switched like 10 years ago, and I have been thankful every day. Not that Verizon is great, but it's not Comcast.
The grass is always or whatever, right?
hmm But yeah, live music or baseball?
Live music probably because I do it more. Although like there's something about my spirit that's hurt by not having baseball right now.
Right? Because you used to fly here for opening day at least every year, right? To Boston.
Yeah, my dad's had season tickets at Fenway since 1978, so we try to go out quite a bit. He doesn't even live. But we
Oh,
we
really?
still go out there. He used to work at WGBH, so got the tickets with some coworkers there.
I think Comcast screwed with. I think Comcast heard you bitching, and they screwed with you again because your face froze again.
Seats, and it's the best.
I think, and they're gonna jam your signal. All right, I see you differently this time. No, you're frozen again. Live TV, baby. That looks a little better because I can at least see you moving. I can't hear you again, though. Live TV, man. Yeah, I can't hear you again. Let's try it again. No, yeah, I see you perfectly now. I just don't hear you at all. Maybe if don't make fun of my seltzer. It's sparkling water. It's not even seltzer. Sorry for the technical difficulties, folks. I'm assuming they're in California's end, not in my end, but I don't know. Let me try to request Skip. Maybe that'll. Oh, he beat me to it. And yes, it is gross. It's just different gross. All right, take three.
I talk shit on Comcast, and that's what I get for it.
Yeah, right. Comcast is wonderful. All praise the Comcast overlords.
I turned off the Wi-Fi, and I'm just gonna sing AT&T's praises from here on out.
Oh, there you go. Right. I think I lost you somewhere around. Your dad had season tickets since 1978, and they were great seats. And then we got the floating wheel of death thing. So.
Yeah, I mean, I got to go to my first game and took my kids to their first game in the same seats. Like, that's incredible. You know what I mean?
That's amazing. Yeah.
Playoffs and things like that is sweet. It doesn't get better than that as a Red Sox fan. Like,
right.
So it's amazing. I'm a Red Sox fan till death, as are my kids. My 2-year-old can sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game," and it includes Red Sox in it. And if you ask him if he likes the Yankees, he says Yankees suck.
Does anybody in California get that? Like, I mean, obviously it's been a thing here for 20 years, but
A's fans hate the Yankees just as much. Well, I mean, not for, but they hate them too. You know?
Okay. Oh yeah, because there were a few years there where the Yankees knocked out the A's in the playoffs like every year.
Yeah. There's no love for the Yankees out here.
Have you been getting up to watch? I don't know what time it would be there, but Korean baseball is on like first thing in the morning here now.
Yeah, I've stayed up and watched a couple of games, like the first few, but it's hard. It's hard to get into it. You know, like it's in some ways it makes you more sad
Right.
that that in correlation with the conversations going on about them starting Major League Baseball with no fans. Like those two things happening and trying to envision how this would play out. It's not an uplifting thing. I mean, they may think it's good for America to get baseball going on, but I don't know. It's gonna be weird.
Do you think you'd watch it? Do you think you'd watch it with nobody in the stands, even just on TV?
Well, that's the only way to watch it, but yeah, I would watch
Well,
it.
yeah, yeah,
I might even just
obviously. Yeah,
radio, man. Like WEI, like I just listen to that like all day, every day. That's fine. I could live with that.
that's actually not a bad option because you can't tell there's nobody there. They'll mention it the first couple games, but
Yeah, just pretend like you had eye surgery for a season or something.
there you go. One of the things that I wanted to talk about, I know last time we talked about a lot of the cool things the Pirates Press does, printing wise, and not to turn this into like home shopping network or whatever, but I thought it would be cool to pick your brain about like how certain things actually came about since I have physical copies of things. Like the like the territories, the disc that's printed on it or stamped onto a CD, but or using a CD press, but it's a playable record. This thing is amazing. How
Yeah,
did that happen? How did this
the
idea?
CD record.
Where did it come from?
A company in Germany figured out how to make.
Oh, I can't hear you again. I can't hear you again. I can see you, but I can't hear you. That's so weird. Yeah, and it's not just my thing right now. Yeah, I can at least see you this time. Do you hear me? Do you hear me at all? No. That's weird. Hmm. No, it's not. Can anybody hear me, or is it just Skippy that we can't hear? It's so frustrating. If you can hear me at all in the comments, just say, yes, we can hear you. Because that would, if it's Instagram. All right, let me try to get him this time. No sound at all? Yeah, you can hear me? Okay, thank you. All right, let me try to get Skip. Let's do it this way. I don't know. Maybe if we go this way, it'll work. I don't know.
Try it. Yeah, you requested it. Can you hear me now?
I hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, we're a Verizon commercial now, right?
I'm just saying. You pay through the nose for it, but you know what? It's been okay.
Getting paid on the back end from Verizon. You already called it out.
Right? So anyway, a company from Germany, I think, is where we went silent again. But if you missed it, we were talking about the Territories disc that is it's on a CD, except that it's playable vinyl. I'm not even explaining that right, I don't think. But how did that happen?
It is. So this company in Germany figured it out, and they figured out a way to actually make it with data on the CD side. So you could play it on some CD players. Now you couldn't play it into one of the CD players like you have like on an Apple computer where you have to like put it in, but like a normal old school one where you pop it in and
Yeah.
play. So they figured that out like 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, something like that. And they tried to market it and it fell flat on its face because it was really expensive and you could only fit a really short amount of music on it. So most music doesn't work for it. But the technology in actually just putting grooves onto the plastic is really simple. So we just took what you use to do that normally for data is called a glass master. And we were able to figure out a way to take a copper plate like we normally use to make a record and transfer it into a glass a glass master, basically. So they're made on a CD press, which means that, like a CD, you basically press a button and 15 seconds later, 15 minutes later, 1,000 of them are done, which is crazy different than records, which take like 30 seconds a piece minimally.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's a really different dynamic. And if somebody ever wanted to make 1,000,000 of them, it would be by far the cheapest way to make a record. And we made those little foam adapters to go in the middle so that they play correctly. Because even if a record's off center by like a micron, it really will have a warp. So there's a bit of a novelty aspect to this too, you know?
Yeah. And then let's go. So these are, I don't know if people can see through, the eyes and the red where it says charger here are actually, whatever the word would be, translucent, so you can see through them. I don't know if you can actually tell, but so where does that idea come from? Is that a thing that you came up with, or has that been around for a while too, and you just made it cool?
Been able to use that technology for things like printing on poly bags and picture disc sleeves and stuff in the past. So we basically figured out a way to take a clear flexi and print on the back of it, the part that doesn't have the grooves, before we put the grooves on it.
Oh, okay.
In a way, put the grooves on it, it doesn't mess up the artwork. So it's like a UV printing process, and everything's printed on the back. Like this Drowns one's kind of a better example to show off. Like,
yeah.
it's
Oh, wow.
color image, but it's all printed from the back. So first we print this image, and then we printed a white layer, which in this case had a knocked out wolf. So the black you're seeing in this wolf is actually the black from this layer, like the back side of it. So this would be like a CMYK print with another white on top at the end, which had the wolf in it. And as a result, you get this like double-sided cool look, you know? Glass or something.
Yeah. I can't even like wrap my head around how that idea even comes up. Obviously, I'm not artistic, but somebody just used like the mind blown emoji thing. I can't even wrap my head around how that idea would come up.
I mean, in principle, it's because the Flexi postcards we make, the ones that are full color, they have art on both sides, so you can do stuff with them. Or you put like a sponsor's information on the back, or lyrics, or whatever. And just having it be full color was a huge advantage to the Flexis, which just have like a foil stamped one color image on them. So basically, being able to achieve the sound quality of the good new Flexis we were making, but the look of those postcard ones, it just melded it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
You've done some really wild, like, for territories, again, a lot of these that you did for territories, these are awesome. And again, not to turn it into like Home Shopping Network, but whatever. It's my show, I can do that. But this is like the coolest thing. And all of the territories ones, the floppy disk, those are awesome.
On that note, have you seen the new 12 inches that we're doing that basically is the same style of printing? So we did one for the Drowns, we did one for Charger, we're doing one for Noise and for Old Firm as well. And basically, you take a one-sided clear 12-inch and you print on the back.
Yeah.
So just like that.
If people don't know what we're talking about, this is the back of the Charger album, and that's the front of the Charger album. But again,
both of those images are printed on the back, so you get a clear record, and then you print the groove image, the image that you see when you're looking at the grooves.
Yeah.
You print that first, then you print white, and then you print the image that's on the back, and all printed on the back though. So essentially, it's a clear record that you're using. Like you're printing on the back.
You're printing on the back of it twice, basically, right? So one layer and then another, and then that.
This is the new Old Firm one, and in this situation, all we did the first image was just black, and this is actually a red record instead of a clear record.
Oh, okay.
So we took the plain red record, and then we printed this stuff in black, and then a white color layer.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And
actually, to take that another step, this is the bag for that, which is printed using the same technology, but it was printed not backwards because it's on the actual surface.
Oh, wow.
It was just printed white and then full color.
We got the little circle thing again. I can't hear you. I can see you though. Yeah, I can't hear you at all. What the? All right, let's. What time is it anyway? Oh, it's still 7:30. Apologies again for all of the technical difficulties. That's the magic of live internet TV when you are using Instagram and cell phones. So let's try again. He's coming back. Don't worry, he's coming back. It's almost like it times out.
Yeah.
That's weird. I've never had one of these happen that way before.
Yeah. Don't know. This is the first one I've done, so I have no experience with it, unfortunately. My apologies if this is my phone, but
all good. It's live Instagram TV. Whatever. Frustrating for sure. But so when it comes time to actually do something like the charger double-sided printed thing, are there, like, how does that come about? You guys have meetings and say, you know, it'd be cool if we did this. Does that come from you, or does that come from the bands, or does that come from a little bit of both? Or?
It's a lot of both. It really depends on the bands themselves. Some bands are way more into coming up with their own ideas than other bands, and like I just kind of fill whatever role is needed depending on the different bands. Yeah.
So have there been bands that came to you, like the Territory stuff? Was that all your idea, like Pirates Press idea, or was that them saying, can we do like a series of a bunch of different, like I showed the eyeball one. We got the dollar bill, which actually has like a negative image of a dollar bill printed down here too, which is pretty wild. Like, do they come to you with ideas, or do you bring them the ideas? We've got a...
That one specifically was my brainchild. They gave me the music and I was inspired.
Really?
Yeah.
So you came up with
ideas. All those flexes were all my impression of the individual songs, more or less.
We'll show that one. What is that a picture of? Like, who's playing there? Because it looks like Rammstein or something like that.
Something ridiculous like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Most got on which is a really cool way for people who are just you need images for use on small run kind of stuff. Some cool stuff on there. Yeah.
This is one of my favorites too, because it looks, I forget who it was. Somebody on Instagram the other day had their eyes in this one. It's like, but don't use it as a mask, because seriously.
Seriously, yeah.
Seriously, because you have to. This is another one of my favorites, the Ramones with Gritty on it. Again, your idea or their idea, or kind of both? Because that seems like it would be a mutual thing.
That one was, I believe, a combination. I think I might have suggested trying to get a photo of him for it, or something to that effect. But, ideas.
Do you like it when the artists come with their own ideas, or when they give you the flexibility to just kind of do whatever you want? Can't hear you again. All right, why don't we try to, maybe we'll try to plan another round of this, because I have a feeling we're going to do the, no, nothing? Okay, why don't we cut it short now? Thank you to everybody that tuned in. Thank you, Skip. This is, no, nothing. No. All right. Let's cut this one short. We'll try, but I'll stop now. Thank you for everybody that has been dealing with our technological difficulties. Bye for now.